I'm your host, BrightLearn, and today we're embarking on a journey through the history of global warming, a subject that has not only shaped our present, but will undoubtedly define our future. We'll be exploring the book, The Age of Global Warming: A History, by Rupert Darwall, and trust me, it's a story filled with intrigue, controversy, and a lot of unexpected twists. Let's start with the origins of the environmental movement. The 1960s marked the dawn of a new era, with Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, a book that was nothing short of revolutionary. It was the first wave of environmentalism, peaking at the 1972 Stockholm Conference. This was a time when the world was waking up to the idea that our planet was in peril, and Carson's work was the catalyst. But as with any movement, there were opposing forces. The Yom Kippur War and the subsequent energy crisis of the 1970s brought the first wave of environmentalism crashing down. Fast forward to the 1980s, and we see a revival of environmentalism, this time with a new champion, Margaret Thatcher. Yes, the Iron Lady herself. In 1988, she addressed the Royal Society, putting global warming firmly on the political map. This was the year when the world seemed ready to listen. The Toronto Conference, NASA's James Hansen testifying before Congress, and the establishment of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, all contributed to a growing sense of urgency. But here's where things get interesting. The global warming narrative is built on three propositions. First, human activities have caused global temperatures to rise. Second, if left unchecked, this rise will cause immense damage. And third, developed countries should lead the way in cutting carbon dioxide emissions. But why was the world ready to embrace this idea? It wasn't just about the science, it was about the zeitgeist. The relationship between mankind and nature was undergoing a revolution. By the end of the 20th century, human intervention in nature was seen as harmful unless proven otherwise. Now, let's talk about the symbols of this dilemma. Polar bears and swallows. The image of a starving polar bear became the icon of a species on the brink of extinction, while swallows, burning hydrocarbons as they migrate across the Sahara, represent mankind's dependence on fossil fuels. But here's the twist. The number of polar bears has actually been increasing. This highlights a crucial point. The narrative of global warming is as much about perception as it is about reality. The 1990s saw the rise of sustainable development, a concept that aimed to reconcile environmental protection with economic growth. But as we delve deeper, we find that the idea of sustainable development is fraught with contradictions. It was a political compromise, a way to bridge the gap between the environmental concerns of the West and the development aspirations of the Third World. The 1992 Rio Earth Summit was a pivotal moment, but it also exposed the deep divisions between nations. The Kyoto Protocol, signed in 1997, was supposed to be the solution. But, as we now know, it was far from perfect. The protocol exempted developing countries from emission reduction targets, leading to its rejection by the United States. This marked a significant humiliation for the West, as the rising powers of the East refused to be bound by the same rules. As we move into the 21st century, the debate becomes even more complex. The Bush administration's refusal to ratify the Kyoto Protocol and the subsequent Copenhagen Conference in 2009 highlighted the challenges of reaching a global consensus. The divide between developed and developing nations was as wide as ever, with each side blaming the other for the lack of progress. But what about the science? The IPCC's reports have been both hailed as groundbreaking and criticized for their flaws. The infamous hockey stick graph, which purported to show unprecedented warming in the 20th century, was later discredited. This controversy exposed deep rifts within the scientific community and raised questions about the reliability of climate models. The story of global warming is not just about science and politics. It's also about the personalities and the power dynamics at play. From the passionate advocacy of Al Gore to the skepticism of climate scientists like Richard Lindzen, The debate is as much about ideology as it is about evidence. So, where does this leave us? The age of global warming has been marked by a series of false starts, broken promises, and missed opportunities. The failure of the Copenhagen Conference was a turning point, revealing the deep divisions that continue to plague international climate negotiations. As we look to the future, it's clear that the challenges are immense. But perhaps the biggest challenge of all is learning from our past. We must recognize the limitations of our knowledge and the dangers of ideological dogma. Only then can we hope to find a way forward that balances the needs of the planet with the aspirations of humanity. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the age of global warming. I hope this episode has given you a new perspective on a topic that affects us all. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And as always, stay curious.
This has been a BrightLearn video from BrightLearn.ai on the book The Age of Global Warming, A History by Rupert Darwall. Visit BrightLearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.